In this video, I'm going to be bringing you guys 5 things that you should already know about RuneScape. However, maybe you didn't know them. These things are super useful to know about the game though, and so here we go. If there's anything in the video that you didn't know about, please do leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below on what you actually learned. And if you can think of anything else that I could include in a series like this in the future, then drop them in the comments as well, and I will steal your comments and I will take a screenshot of it and use it in a future video. Finally, before we do get started, if you want some more content from me, there is already 4 Patreon-only videos up on my Patreon, which is linked in the description. And if you want to chuck $1 over there and support the channel, you'll get access to some more content. And I will, of course, be continuing to post content over there. And hopefully we do end up with a pretty big library of stuff for you guys that do want to get a little bit extra content. But finally, other than that, let's get started. First up, we're going to be talking about Nex. For you guys that are learning this boss, or maybe you're actually already doing this boss, but you struggle with phase 2. Recently, I went back and watched one of my old videos when I was doing Nex, and quite a few people were surprised in the comments of that video that you can actually stop Nex from chasing you around the room if just before phase 2, you switch to a melee helmet and melee boots. I do believe they have to be of a certain tier, so for example, if you're using Serenic, you're going to want to be using laceration boots and a malevolent helmet or better. What this does is it puts you outside of the range of where Nex will decide to melee you instead of just ranging you from a distance, and so that she won't chase you around the room doing the typeless tick damage. Of course, if she does stay in melee distance and you don't kite her and stay away, you will constantly take the typeless damage, which can kill you very quickly or take a lot of food, especially for learners. So for someone who is maybe wanting to make it a little bit more chill, if you chuck on some laceration boots and malevolent helmet just before you go into phase 2, she will not do this, making the fight a lot easier for you. This is an old trick, of course, and it's still better in my opinion to just wear full Serenic or whatever you're wearing and just kite her if you can. But if you're on Revolution and you struggle to kite someone while using full manual, then this definitely could be a better option for you. Just remember, after phase 2 though, as you go into the blood phase, to swap back to your other things so that you're not splashing or losing DPS through the blood phase and the rest of the kill. Next up, we are going to be talking about defense abilities. Now, this is important to know about because a lot of bosses require defense abilities, like to actually be able to even, to actually be able to even get through them. It makes your life a hell of a lot easier to understand your defense abilities, and I have talked about this many times. However, that is not the specific thing we're talking about today. I'm just going to say, oh, learn your defense abilities. No. What I wanted to talk about is your defense abilities that require a shield actually scale depending off of the tier of the shield. So for example, if you're using a tier 90 shield, you are going to be getting the best out of that as of right now in game. Tier 90 is the highest level of shield that you can get, and certain defense abilities such as resonance, for example, will scale depending on the shield. So it says here, heal for 50% to 100% blocked based on the level of shield equipped. And obviously you need to keep this in mind because if you're a low level player and you're using a low level shield, you're not going to get as much out of it. But if you are a high level player and you're taking a shield that, I don't know, say you took like a tier 50 shield because you didn't know this, you will be getting a lot more out of your resonance from using a high level shield. Now the same goes for barricade as well. The duration of barricade scales off of your shield. So if you have a low level shield, you are going to have a 4.8 second barricade, as you can see here. But if you have a high level shield, then you're going to get 10.2 seconds. Now this is a huge difference. Obviously, if you are going to be trying to use barricade for a reason and you want to survive longer, using barricade on a shield will give you a much longer time. Mine's above that because of Turtling 4, the perk, but using a tier 90 shield is incredibly important. Now what I want to mention real quick is, of course, the tier 90 shields, the one that I have, for example, the merciless one or the malevolent ones or whatever, can be quite pricey. But because it's the tier that counts, you can actually just grab yourself an Elder Rune Shield from the Grand Exchange for about 84k. And they will buy for this as well. I'll quickly buy one and you can see that they will actually buy. These are super cheap. 85k, tier 90 shield. Obviously, it gives a little bit less armor and life bonus than what you would expect from your thing, from your merciless one. But it still gives you the effect of the level 90, and you're only going to be using it for a second. Like, you're going to chuck it on, you're going to use resonance, and then you're going to take it off in most situations. And one thing to throw in here with this as well is a defender, which a lot of people opt to use instead, actually do a reduced amount of effect than a shield will. So if you're using a defender, then you can use your dual wield abilities still, and you'll get more damage out of it. But if you use things like resonance, you'll get less of a heal than you will if you're using an actual shield. And you'll get less duration of barricade if you're using a defender than you will using a shield as well. The next thing we're going to mention, a lot of people when I showed this on stream a while ago was very surprised about it, and I thought, you know, it's actually worth mentioning in this video. This is on by default, but when you teleport to places, does your game look a bit like this? Obviously, we need to wait for my guy to actually teleport because I'm apparently too poor to have any visible extra quick teleports. But when we go, you're going to see that there is a loading screen here. It says loading map, and then you got to wait, and then you actually get there. If your game looks like this, to make the games feel more smooth on a higher end PC, of course, you can actually go into settings, go to graphics, and then go down to loading screens. If you untick this, whenever you teleport somewhere, you're going to see that it is a lot more smooth, because what it will do is you will go straight away, then it will load around you as you appear. This makes the thing a hell of a lot more smooth, and of course it is definitely worth doing. I think having the loading screen kind of takes away from the immersion just a little bit. So we're going to tell battle numbers now while we do this, but keep in mind if you have a lower end PC, maybe you lag a little bit, it may still be worth having loading screens on, as it will load the actual area for you before you go in, reducing the amount of lag that you have between the transitions. But as you can see, makes it feel a lot more smooth, and also it's a bit quicker. Like, you can get going a bit quicker than you would if you had loading screens on as well. So if you didn't know this, go into settings, go to graphics, scroll down and untick loading screens, and you are absolutely good to go. Number 4 is one for you guys that have just designed your UI. Now, as you can see, I have my UI around the side of my screen here, and my character is still central to my screen. But that means that this section of my gameplay is actually cut off, and I can't see what I would normally see. For example, if I unlock this and I move this window out of the way here, you're going to see that there's actually a bit of the game that is hidden. So technically I'm losing that field of view, right? And I can't see that bit. Anything behind my thing is hidden. Now, a lot of people would actually say that this is bad and you should change it. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you didn't know how to do this, then you can actually get a bit of your perspective back. I prefer to still have my character central to my screen so that when I'm playing, I am looking directly at my character in the middle and not somewhere off to the side a little bit. But depending on how your UI is built, this could be definitely something you can do. Go to edit layout mode, and then while you're in here, go into advanced options as well. Then you're going to want to scroll right down and until you find the actual thing that shows the gameplay area. So if we come all the way down, you're going to see that it says game view. Tick game view, and then you can see that there's another little box here at the top. Now this is movable now. So if we actually move all this stuff out of the way, we can now move our game view in to our UI. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit weird and it seems weird to be doing, but it's happening. I can move this, meaning anything behind my UI now can then go back, and all that area that I would have missed before will now be included. But the only thing I don't like about this, as I will show you in just a second, is now my character is not central. So now I've got my area, everything's good. It just feels weird to me, dude. My character's not central anymore. I can see the full game view now. It's absolutely fine. My character seems a little bit off center to me, and a lot of people prefer it like this because you don't lose any like field of view whatsoever. But personally, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know, dude. It's really, really weird. So I'm gonna put it back to how it was. But yeah, if you prefer it the other way around, then this is something that you can definitely do. I just prefer to have it like this. For our last one, we are going to be talking about armor and how it works per different types of armor that you have in the game. This is quite important to know for people who are getting into PvM and maybe you want to start climbing the ladder and you actually want to understand how armor actually works. I've mentioned this to a few people, they're surprised about how it works. So I think a few of you guys, be honest in the comments, a few of you guys probably won't have known this exactly. Maybe you had an idea about it, yeah. This is talking about how some certain parts of armor will not actually reduce your damage that you take in PvE directly. It does overall, but directly. Now, in the game, we have different types of armor. We have PvP armor, we have hybrid armor, we have power armor, and we have tank armor. We're going to just not really talk about the other ones as they're fairly irrelevant as of right now, but we're going to talk about the power armor and the tank armor differences. Now, on these armor pieces, you have the actual stat for armor. As you can see, it says the Tectonic Robe top has 526 armor. What happens when you equip this is it doesn't actually reduce the amount of damage you're going to take for a power armor set. It just reduces the chance that you're going to get hit by the actual thing that's hitting you. If you're being hit by, say, Telos, as an example, wearing armor will mean you have a higher chance of not being hit by that target. But if you have no armor on, and you have a full set of power armor on in 2 different instances, a hit for 1000 damage will still hit you for 1000 damage no matter what. If you have no armor on or you have a full set of power armor on, that will still do 1000 damage. It's just that if you have the full set of power armor on, you have a better chance of avoiding being hit. However, when it comes to tank armor, this is where damage reduction actually comes into play. So I'm going to open up the stats thing here, the combat stats, and you're going to see in my backpack I've got my elite tectonic and I've got my crippling armor. If we look at the bottom here, we're going to see damage reduction PvE and damage reduction PvP. Ignore PvP, doesn't matter, who cares, dead content, whatever. But if you look at the damage reduction for PvE, we have 8.5%. Now, if I wear my crippling armor, you're going to see that we go all the way up to 13.9%. This is because we have tank armor on, so armor does the hit chance, but it also does the damage reduction as well. But if we take this off, we're going to bring ourselves back down to 8.5%. And when we put the tectonic armor on, this isn't going to change. The PvP changes still, but the PvE version doesn't do a difference. That is because you aren't going to get any damage reduction from this because it's power armor. So keep in mind that that is not what this does. If you're thinking, I've just upgraded from a different armor set to tier 90 or tier 92 power armor and I'm still taking just as much damage, the hits are still doing the same thing. They won't change. Only thing that's going to change is how often you get hit. The damage reduction itself only applies when wearing tank gear in PvE. Anyway guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully you found it interesting. Let me know in the comments if there's any that you did find interesting, of course. And if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like. And also if you're new around here, consider subscribing to the channel. We're nearly at 30k subs, which is absolutely crazy to me. So if you guys aren't subbed, which a lot of you aren't, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I make a lot of content and post whatever I can think of as often as I can think of it and get it done. But other than that, again, if you're interested in some more content that's posted, there's 4 videos already on the Patreon, check the link in the description. But channel members and patrons, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. You guys literally make it possible for me to be full-time right now with the way the ad revenue and stuff is. It's all over the place still, but it's getting better. But you guys still support the channel an absolute ton, so I appreciate it. Your names will have been on screen throughout this outro. Thank you so much. But other than that, I appreciate every single one of you watching, leaving likes and comments and all that sort of stuff. Hope you learned something new, and I will catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys.